That's the color palette used for this artwork. Titanium white, Naples yellow deep extra, Indian yellow, Van Dyke brown, light red, Naphthol red, ultramarine blue, lamp black. This is a mixture of lamp black, white and a really tiny bit of Van Dyke brown to get it on the warm side. It's just a rest color from another sketch. That's my medium. Hey there, I'm Stas. On this channel I explore the art world and the techniques of oil painting. Whatever I find out, I share with you here. Subscribe and enjoy. I'm using this tape in order to simulate this shape, so that will be my composition searcher. I want them to be really on the edges of the composition, not here, but really almost touch the edges. I explained the principles of this type of composition in this video. That has to do with the modern appeal that I aim to add to this still life. I will link it in the description below. Into it. That's a nice black. It looks black, but I don't have black in it at the moment. No black at all. What I want is, I want this more pure blue now. Wipe this off a bit so I can place the ultramarine on top. Good practice to look into the negative shapes, try to figure things out. Let me show you actually what I mean by negative space. We have here in the center the shoes, but what I'm looking at is actually this space outside of the subject itself. I do it all over the place, right? Cut it in small pieces and then look what's happening here. And here we would have this space, right? Goes like this. And here as well. This helps to see the proportions in a fresh view and spot any wrong lines. Now I start to fill in the shape of the subjects themselves. I apply the strokes trying to match the value first, and I care about the right colors later. Also, I try to apply logical stroke direction, so that the strokes are describing the form. A bit more red, maybe exaggerate a bit of the tones that I see there. You see, I'm trying to work with the biggest brush as far as possible, so I get this painterly effect, you know. These parts are greenish, so let's create a green. It's a different green. Gray into my green. Perfect. That's the base. Now let's clean the brush, pick another brush and proceed. After blocking in with this wide and big brush, I now switch to a fan brush. The Features of the fan brush are not only that it is wide, but its thin side allows for more precision. Okay, clean. Let's move on. It's too much. Right a bit. Slightly bit red into it, maybe a bit more red, because it has some patina. The shoes have some patina from wearing them. Premixing this orange that will serve me as the base for the shadow part in the yellow areas. And then I'm establishing the generic yellow so that I have a bright yellow that is in the light part, and in the dark parts I'll have the dark orange. Then I gradually brighten or darken the base, and simultaneously I adjust the temperature as well. And the whole process is a back and forth of darker, lighter, warmer, colder, and so on. I need it brighter. Checking the value and chroma, that's tone and color, by holding the brush near the area of placement. And I'll change this brush to another one where I have more control, to this one. This tapered part allows me to work wide and thin and even detailed. I'm working on the background shoe for the second time. The goal now is to darken the values overall, so it's more clear that it's in the last lit area. If you look at the reference, you notice that the difference is quite subtle. Unfortunately, I won't succeed with this second attempt. Later I'll figure out why and go for another round. I'm adding more strokes with different temperature to create an interesting topography, but keeping the value at the same level for the respective areas so that nothing breaks out. It's an ongoing experiment. Every time I paint, I discover something new. How to color the shoe sole so that it looks similar to what's on the setup. It has a black color but has this bouncing light in it. That's coming from the surroundings. One needs to take this in account when mixing this variety of grays that together create this illusion of a black shoe sole. On top of the warm colors, I'll add now some cool colors. That adds variety into the temperature and makes the whole thing more natural and more interesting for the eye. So I'm now at the point where I don't like it, but somehow I understand that there is something happening, so I'm in the right direction. Best would be now to make a break, look at it in half an hour. So this is how far I am at the moment. I'm done for today. I'll proceed tomorrow. Things I'm not happy with is the value difference of the front shoe against the back shoe. So the subject matter should have a very clear distinction, because here I don't have shadow and this is in the shadow area. It goes in the right direction, but for now I'm like 1.5 hours into it and take a break, and I'll proceed tomorrow. Then the background itself, it will get a bit more details. I will need, that's also a task then towards the end. The focus area will be around this part here, so this center, like how these two parts are communicating with each other. I'll add some laces, maybe some of the edges here I will add as well. These areas I need some details in order to distinguish it from the rest, and so that the brain gets some food in order to recreate and reimagine. That's the idea. So it's not a task about copying exactly what I see on this setup, but to give it a more loose brush strokes combined with some detailed brush strokes, some more precise brush strokes. And that combination will then create a painterly effect, which is not just a copy of what I see on this setup, which would be a pity. And same goes for painting from a picture. Just copying the picture, why would you do this? If you have the picture, just use the picture, just make a print out of it and enjoy the picture itself. One needs to translate it into a painterly visual. That's the whole point of it, not just copying the picture. It's a matter of translation into a painting. And for me, a painting is not a copy, it's a translation of how you feel, what's on your mind, right? What is it, what you want to bring over when you paint it, and try to put these emotions into the painting. I always say myself, don't copy, inspire. Now it's the second day since I started this painting, and I'll add now corrections of the form and some highlights. I start with the lights. I'm using a round brush, it's a nice form. And it's touch dry now. Apart from darkening with black, I also try to darken with the complementary colors. That adds variety to the strokes and shapes, and these areas are therefore more appealing for the eye. Now I'm showing deformations in the shoe surface. This part of the shoe has various deformations through bulges and dents, which creates a great opportunity to input some subtle color and value variety that describes the topography of this shoe area. I'm fixing the drawing since I'm not really happy how it looks at the moment. Compare it with what I see on the setup in front of me and try to match it as close as possible, while still trying to not overwork it, you know. If the drawing needs to be fixed, just fix it. It doesn't matter at what stage you are. Clean the brush again. Now the idea is to get gray here. Gray reddish. Here it's a variety, cold and warm, a mix. Now I'll mix the green with the grey a bit and add it here on top. Green greyish, yeah. Here I'll have some darker green. This will work fine. Press out the color and clean the brush and add the black part. Let's create the black here. Doesn't need to be completely black, but I start with really dark and then I lighten up where it's necessary. Trying to place it so it is on the ground, and I need therefore to add a bit of light here. Well, that's my third attempt with the values of this shoe. This time I go much darker and eventually succeed with finding the right tones. The problem was that, being caught in the process for a while, I tried to match the subtle difference that's there in the real situation on the setup, ignoring the fact that it just simply does not work on the canvas. So I had to go much darker in order to create a clear distinction between the lit and shadow areas. Oftentimes one has to exaggerate some effects in order to achieve the desired impression. Now I light up the front area that is in focus. I'm using mostly a neutral to warm white that simulates the right temperature impression depending on where it's placed. That means which temperature is underneath the layer. Warm, cold, neutral. Sometimes I shift it into a warmish or into a more cold direction. Okay, now I paint the laces. I lay down the foundation with big shapes, then gradually I add more and more detail with smaller shapes, using various chroma and value levels. Simultaneously, I also pay attention to the form, so the strokes follow here also the form. That creates the impression of volume. Now I paint in the logo mark. I didn't touch this area for quite a while, so I waited till the end. Because for me it's similar to the eyes in the face when you paint a portrait. Once the eyes are set in, they sort of disturb and it's difficult to focus on all the other areas. Add more nuanced details. That's the final and last step before I can call it done and dusted. I add the majority of details in the focus area, that's around the central parts of the shoe, that's the yellow parts. So I try to get here and there some details around this area, and therefore it gets all the focus because it worked out more. It's like a portrait where you work out the eyes and the mouth area, maybe the nose as well, because that's the natural area of focus for the viewer. Add something in the background, and that is, I want the background to have this purple tones bit. Maybe I add them here as well, just to balance it out. It's important not getting caught in details. So I had this small brush in my hands and immediately I wanted to add somewhere something, so I don't do it. I keep it like this. It's good. It gives an overall impression, you know. In fact, I can't resist to add one final detail. I want to show some profile. That's it. Okay, now it's done. Curious about what's happening in my studio? Subscribe to my newsletter for exclusive behind-the-scenes updates, new project announcements, and creative insights you won't find anywhere else. See you there. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, you're gonna love this video over here. Thanks for spending your time with me. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.